So unfortunately, the hits keep on coming in the labor market in the form of more major layoffs being announced. And unfortunately for the folks who are being impacted by this comes at a time when the job market is particularly difficult. And also, things are slowing down as we head into the final couple of months of the year and into the beginning part of 2026. So let's walk through some of the latest headlines, and then I want to end it with a video of a layoff that is particularly off-putting, and I'm going to see if you catch on to what exactly is happening there. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brian. I'm the founder of A Life After Layoff, a career strategist and a corporate recruiter. I've made it my mission to demystify how careers and job search work at major corporations. So if this kind of content interests you, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're tired of employers holding all the cards in the employment arrangement, maybe you've been jerked around by a layoff or two in your career, isn't it time you reclaim control? If you're not sure how to do that, you're in luck, because I've created a free 1.5-hour webinar which walks you through the exact steps and process you need to take in order to reclaim control and start to act like the CEO of your career. This is especially important if you're in an active job search, but it's also incredibly relevant if you're trying to achieve something of significance in your career and you're feeling stuck. Keep in mind it's absolutely free, and I will leave a link in the video description below. So without further ado, let's head over and check out what's going on in the market. Unfortunately, the hits keep coming with layoffs as we enter into the final stretch of 2025 and kicking off 2026, and I really hope this isn't a sign of things to come. Of course, this is now about a month old, but Target has announced 1,800 corporate jobs in their first major layoff in a decade. So they've finally joined the fray and are laying some people off. Now, this represents 8% of their workforce and is the largest round of layoffs in over a decade. And this is of no surprise because over the last few years, they've had some major publicity issues that they've had to try to navigate, and they haven't done a very good job of it. And the stores are really suffering. And in fact, my local store is a complete disaster. When you walk in, there's crap everywhere. If you go to the returns area, there's boxes stacked to the ceiling. And it's like there's no management team on site. People are basically walking around doing nothing, and the store is in complete disarray. So we actually stopped going there and have opted to go to other places. And it seems like not all that long ago, Target was the darling of retail, but it seems like that luster has completely worn off. But it's not just Target. Other companies in the retail space, let's just call Verizon Retail or Retail and Telecom, but they're also announcing a major layoff of 13,000 workers as its new CEO seeks a faster and more focused company. Now, there's a memo that we'll walk through really quickly, but this, again, is no surprise. These companies have jacked their prices up. Their service is terrible. When you walk into a store, it's like you're inconveniencing people. And there's really not been any major innovation in this space in a very, very long time. So a memo from the CEO to the employees reads, "Thank you for the many messages you've shared about what we need to do to strengthen our company." Some kind of a corporate-y stuff about him thanking them and making it abundantly clear that we need to change and evolve as a company to meet the needs of our customers and to expand our market leadership. Our current cost structure limits our ability to invest significantly in our customer value proposition. So in other words, they have a lot of costs. What's the number one cost that employers look at in their organizations when they're trying to cut? It's not capital expenditures. It's the people. The people are always the first line item that they go and they look at because it's the easiest one. You can kind of go through a spreadsheet, cut people out, replace people with cheaper options, offshore some roles, and it's an immediate impact to the bottom line of the business. Again, there's every time a company lays people off, look at what the stock price does. It immediately jumps. And people are easier to get rid of than a piece of machinery that they may have ordered and have installed somewhere in the field. So that's going to be the first thing. So when they say our cost structure limits our ability to invest significantly in our customer value proposition, what they're meaning is we have too many employees and we want to basically streamline our business by getting rid of a whole bunch of you. So we must reorient our entire company around delivering for and delighting our customers. So today, the main solution we have is to reduce our workforce by more than 13,000 employees across the organization and significantly reduce our outsourced and other outside labor expenses. So does this mean that they are not going to be offshoring any of these roles? I'd be really curious to see if a person who got laid off during this round that's coming up, see if your same job is being posted as a cheaper alternative, like a 1099 contract, or if it is actually offshored. I would love to hear from people who are working at Verizon if this is indeed the case. If you do happen to circle back to this video and just leave me a comment and tell me what exactly are they doing. But nonetheless, it says we deeply value their contributions and are committed to providing a comprehensive resource to help them through this transition. If they deeply valued their contributions, they wouldn't have laid them off. So this is just like against this lip service stuff. And I'm going to read the rest of this so before I get ahead of myself. But it says that every part of the company will experience some level of change, and we are having conversations with every affected employee to ensure they are treated with the utmost respect and care. Okay, so hopefully that is actually happening. If they're going to get laid off, at least through a memo, they are telling people that they're going to have direct conversations with them. And I think that that's the minimum that a company can do, is to give them the dignity of having a face-to-face, or at least being able to speak to a human. So we'll see if that actually happens. Changes across the economy are impacting all industries, and there's kind of some stuff around it. And it says, Verizon is the first company to set up a fund specifically focusing on opportunities and necessary skill sets as we enter the age of AI. So the conversation around AI is now happening in telecom. So it is my intent to also work with other companies in the public sector to address opportunities and challenges where technology is going to impact us all. So if we read between the lines, there is an impact on technology for these jobs. The CEO is telling their employees that there is an impact of AI. So he may not be coming out directly and saying that some of these positions are impacted by AI, but you have to read, like, this is a very small in between the line. You have to read the not even that fine print. They're laying people off due to AI on some level. They're getting emboldened to make these decisions because they can use an AI tool to replace people. So one thing that's really interesting here is pricing has never been something that's ever talked about. They never think about how can we gain more market share? How can we get more customers? It's always, let's just cut cost. I didn't see anywhere in here where he's talking about how we can try to increase revenue or try to engage in people to do, like, why is that not the first priority? Cut costs in areas that do not impact people. There's a lot of bloat in corporations. It's not just like labor costs can get bloated. They do hire people on for special projects, things shift. Maybe they bring people on that are a little bit more high priced than they need for the role. So I understand that, like, things happen and companies do need to right size, but it seems like we're right sizing every second or third year now. And these companies are bloating, but I never hear these corporations taking ownership of decisions that they made that maybe are impacting the business. It's like we made bad management decisions that impacted the business. There's never ownership from the executive team saying, sorry, they'll say, well, we've made some decisions, or things are not going great, so we have to try to fix it. But what about the initial decision to begin with? The initial decisions to these cost cutting, these scaling back on benefits to the customer, the increasing prices. These have people leaving your organization. These have people leaving you as customers. It's costing you money. So your immediate reaction is not to address that or the bad decision that you made that led up to it, but rather you look at the people first. And that really drives me nuts that is the first thing that these corporations look at. So I'm going to get off my soapbox on that, but it's just a consistency of, like, there's no ownership in poor decision making at the leadership level. It's just always the people who get impacted by these bad decisions are, unfortunately, the worker bees of these organizations. So Hewlett-Packard has also announced that they are cutting about 6,000 jobs by 2028. So the couple, about a 2-year ramp up to 2028, they're going to be eliminating 6,000 jobs, which is very significant for HP. It's in the tech space now. So we've had retail, telecom / retail. Now we have tech. Tech's been hit very hard over the past, really 2 or 3 years. The hits keep on coming in the tech space, but it's not just the tech space. But here they are. They're saying that it's ramping up its AI efforts, and so they're expecting to cut between 4,000 to 6,000 jobs by 2026 as part of a plan to streamline operations and adopt artificial intelligence to speed up product development, improve customer satisfaction, and boost productivity. The bottom line is, and the video is not meant to be like we should be Chicken Little skies falling, run around with our hands up in the air about AI, but rather be eyes wide open about this, that this is the new reality. Like this is like, if you're not picking up on AI, I mean, we just heard from Verizon saying we're going to try to help people who have been impacted get reskilled because they're not skilled in it. And that's their way of kind of making them feel better is getting people displaced. You're being displaced because you don't have these skills, these AI skills. Hewlett Packard's doing the same thing. So what is this telling us is in the job market? We have to be being proactive about staying on top of what's going on the AI space. I don't think that AI personally is this massive epiphany that these companies have. I think that there is going to be some sort of a bubble that they have thrown all these resources in, and that a lot of these tools are actually not nearly as impactful as they say. But that's not stopping companies and leaders from getting mesmerized by the bottom line. You got to think they have shareholders that they have to report to. They have bonuses that they like to collect on every year. Those are well reported. So the idea of being able to replace any of that or to build a more lean company that can be more profitable for their bonus pool, these companies are going to do these things without necessarily thinking through the long-term impacts. And that person who's boots on the ground may think to themselves, there's no way that they can replace me because my job can't be automated or outsourced. They're going to lose too much. But guess what? They're willing to take that risk. And they've shown it. It's not that we think they're going to be willing to take the risk. Even if the tool that is going to replace you is not ready, and chances are it's not ready, it doesn't mean that they're not going to do it anyway. So we have to be eyes wide open about this and be proactive. That's part of being the CEO of your career. Taking proactive ownership of what's coming down the pipeline and this idea of being loyal. I think we all, hopefully by now, have realized that loyalty is dead in the workplace. But this is no different. This is just a continuation of what's going on in the job market. These companies are laying people off now. It used to be the rumor it was going to be AI. Now they're flat out telling us that it's AI. Now, I want to introduce today's sponsor because I think that this is relevant for the people who are losing these jobs. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are going to be entering into 2026, newly entering into the workplace. And unfortunately, I do think there's a lot of people heading into 2026 that are going to be new job seekers. And you're going to be applying to a lot of different positions. And unfortunately, one of the unsavory parts of job search is you're giving out your personal information to a lot of these companies in the form of job applications, and they use these job applications to check backgrounds and do all these things. Unfortunately, some of these companies who do these background checks have made people's information available for resale. And this is really unfortunate and really, frankly, it pisses me off. But they take your information and then they make it available for resale, and it goes out to data brokers. And these data brokers then take your information, propagate it all over the internet. So now you got your personal information showing up in all these directories, etc. And then the problem is trying to get rid of it. But fortunately, Delete Me has created a novel solution which scans the internet looking for instances where your personal information is showing up on these directories with these data brokers, and then they take proactive steps to remove the information for you. You just have to give them a little bit of personal information so they know what to look for when they're starting to scan the internet. But it's really a nice service in order to just know that your personal information is being secured and being looked after. And if you'd like to get started, they've been really gracious to offer a 20% off discount if you use the code LAYOFF at sign up. So that's joindeleteme.com/layoff, or you can use the QR code that's on the screen right now. So getting back to what's going on in the job market, MIT released a study where they found that AI can already replace nearly 12% of the U.S. workforce, which you might think is not that significant, but you got to think of all the people who are in roles that are likely to be slow impact for AI. I'm thinking like manual labor. I'm thinking like plumbers. I'm thinking like people on production floors and other areas like that. Although there is an argument to be made that any one of those jobs could eventually be replaced by AI, including human resources, including me, YouTubing, including people who are in these production roles. There are robots that do the work. There's automation that does manual assembly. There is robots that move around Amazon warehouses delivering parts. There are automated trucks driving down the roads. you might not even realize when there's one driving down the road next to you on the highway. Commercial airlines already fly themselves for 90% of the flight. So the fact is that AI is already here. It's been here for a long period of time, and now MIT is finding that there is already the ability to replace up to 12% of the workplace. And if you don't think that these employers, these CEOs, these executive teams aren't salivating over that idea, you're being really naive. And I think that the bigger impact then becomes what happens if AI starts to impact all these jobs on a wholesale level. I'm not a futurist. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I do believe that AI will certainly impact a lot of jobs. I think it will change a lot of how we approach work. They claim that it will be allowing us to focus on pet projects and doing stuff that's more, passionate, that we're able to tap into creativity more because AI can't do that. And I like to think that that's the case. I like to believe in that positive future, but there is going to be some pain and some hiccups. Now, we've gone through major changes in the past. There have been major changes in the way that we've approached work with the internet age, with the industrial revolution. So we've been through this stuff before, but it's just a matter of what does work look like in the future? And I'll try to talk about this more in future videos. But the fact of the matter is that MIT is finding, that there are a sizable number of people who can be replaced to some degree or another. Again, whether we want to believe it or we want to believe that the tool is ready to take our specific job is another thing, but that's not going to stop these employers from doing that. So we've got a lot of these stories about layoffs and about the impersonal nature of how things are handled that has become very popular. I know I've covered them on my channel. People getting laid off through all these means, emails, showing up to swipe your badge and it's not working. There has been a lot of negative publicity from companies about how they've handled these mass layoffs because there is an interesting logistical challenge. Trying to lay off 10,000 plus people, think of all the hours invested in the work to actually lay them off. It's actually cost a lot of money to lay people off. You got to have somebody in there processing everything and putting together these packages and doing all the identification and then setting up all the systems and the packages and the outplacement, and then you got to have somebody sitting down. You probably have to have a human resource person sitting there as well to make sure everything's handled above the cuff. It can be a very expensive proposition for a company to lay off, have a sizable layoff. So it's not super surprising that they're doing these, to me, chicken shit ways of handling it, where they just send out a mass email or they have a pre-recorded video where you can't ask any questions and you just basically lose your job because it's a lot easier, a lot cheaper. And on the other side, they're also laying off a lot of human resources people. Who's going to be doing the layoffs when the people who are being laid off are also the people who are supposed to be doing the layoffs? So it's a really interesting dilemma, and these companies are continuing to, I guess, look at innovating that and figuring out better ways to do it. And to me, sending mass emails is just not it. But I wanted you guys to hear this video, and I want you to listen for the style in which they do it and see if you pick up on anything, and then I will comment on it. So let's listen to it first.
We encourage you to look for opportunities during the next 60 days and be sure to work with your local HR team to help. I truly appreciate all you have done for this site, for your communities, and for our customers. In recognition that this is difficult news, we decided to pause deliveries for the rest of the day and will pay you for your full shift. Operations will resume starting third shift today, November 18th. You will receive a UKG message with your shift start. Again, we want to express our deepest gratitude and express our heartfelt thanks for your dedication and hard work. We are committed to working together and will be here to provide support and resources during this transition. I know you likely have many questions. Your sites will host huddles throughout the next few days with more information. If your leaders cannot answer your question, we are committed to finding the answer for you. Before I close the call, I want to personally thank you for everything that you have done. From every delivery, to every bag, to every customer you greeted, to every hour that you actually spent with us. It has been a testament of the people that we have in these sites. Thank you for joining the call today. I know that this is difficult news to hear, but no, we're available to support you throughout this process. Thank you.
So in the comments, people are starting to jump on something interesting, and I want your opinion on it. So to me, I'm hearing a pre-recorded call, which again plays into this impersonal nature of laying people off, but also they're laying people off, closing down jobs right before the holiday season. So this is the worst possible time to be doing this. Now, people are saying it's AI, but I actually think that it's the real VP of Kroger talking, because there was some cadence related issues that are kind of more natural sounding, but nonetheless, he sounds very robotic, very rehearsed, very, I wouldn't say stoic, but like very just matter of fact, and it almost sounds like it could be the cadence of an AI related tool. Is that something that we're going to face in the future, where you're going to start getting laid off by AI bots? The same AI bots that have eliminated your job are now going to be laying you off. I don't think that we're there yet. And I think that some of these people who are calling this out, I'm just not convinced that this was AI. I do believe this was a pre-recorded video, but I'm waiting for companies to start laying people off through AI as well. It's only a matter of time. So what are your thoughts on this? Would you like to be laid off by AI? Does that impersonalness really even matter to you if you're already losing your job? Leave a comment and let me know. Anyway, appreciate you watching. Again, I want to thank today's sponsor, Delete Me, and we will see you on the next one.